Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati. Look for their secrets. Run back. Tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most unmatched wit and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from FedEx Forum, believe it or not. Downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you enjoyed another double-digit win for the Grizz last night, because that's what we got. Blowout in Toronto. Boo our national anthem if you want to. That's fine. But once you're done doing that, you got to deal with something, because this is Memphis, Canada. This is Memphis. We already took one of your NBA franchises, all right? We might throw Vancouver on a jersey every once in a while, but just know that's ours. It was yours, and we decided we wanted it, so we took it. So we already took one of your NBA franchises, and last night we beat your other one by 31. American excellence.
Yep, yes it is.
It's American excellence above the border. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let's set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes from now, Mike Wallace is going to join me, and God bless him. You guys owe him some appreciation as well as I, because he's going to be getting up on almost no sleep, right?
Yeah, I believe so. They probably got back late last night.
I'm assuming they got back in the middle of the night. Mike Wallace is going to join me, blurry-eyed perhaps, but he'll be here. We'll talk all things Grizzlies and NBA with him, Mike Wallace, in the next segment. Finish talking to Mike, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway's Tigers extended their winning streak to 6 games last night, 83-71 victory over Tulsa inside FedEx Forum. Avoided that dreaded Quadrant 4 loss. Up next, payback for the Temple Owls. We'll talk Tiger basketball. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. The Jacksonville Jaguars have hired Grant Yudinsky to be their offensive coordinator. Interesting hire. In part, he's only 29 years old. I'll tell you why I'd be thrilled if I were a Jacksonville fan. We'll do that a little later on in the show. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith continues to insist he will not run for president of the United States, while continuing to insist he could win the Democratic primary, though, if he did. This dude's everywhere now, talking about everything all the time. I can't turn on TV without seeing Stephen A. Smith somewhere. And I'm not certain he's wrong. in what he's saying. We'll spend a few minutes on that. We'll do it in just a bit. Pete Alonso, LGM, is returning to the New York Mets. Makes sense for both sides, and now the Mets have the fourth best odds in Major League Baseball to win the 2025 World Series. Dodgers have the best. That's a problem. We'll talk baseball in the second hour, and famed burger spot In-N-Out is coming to Tennessee, first to Nashville, but eventually to Memphis. We'll give you the details during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because Game 51 of a scheduled 82 played last night in Toronto. I told you a double-digit win was on tap, and I told you that for 2 reasons. One, and this was always the most important one, the Raptors stink. That can't be overstated. And then two, American excellence. And both things were on full display last night, especially in the second half when the Grizzlies scored 85 points and cruised to a 31-point victory in a city best known for harboring master manipulators, habitual liars, and colonizers. Final score, Grizz 138, Raptors 107. While Drake is crying himself to sleep every night in Australia, his favorite basketball team was back home getting smacked around by the hooper that be busting out the gritty. Ja Morant took 14 shots, made 9 of them. Finished with 26 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. He was plus 16. Jaren Jackson Jr. added 32 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, plus 29. Simply put, the stars were the stars. Big Bet Bennett, you told me Toronto was good and that I should be nervous. I told you I didn't have that kind of feeling inside of me. 31-point victory for the Grizzlies last night. What do you have to say for yourself now? What do you think about the Raptors now that you watched them for 48 minutes last night?
Oh, well, I never said I thought they were good. I said that they were playing well. And they were playing well leading into that game.
Easy to play well until you got to deal with John Jaren above the border.
I think that's true. No, the Grizzlies were awesome last night. It was... Honestly, there was a lot of positive things to get out of that game last night. I mean, one, they've won 10 of their last 11, so we'll just forget about that tough loss in New York.
Not even worried about it anymore.
I'm not even thinking about it.
I was there, and I don't even remember a thing about it.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, and there's just some good things that came out of this. Zach Edey, 3rd consecutive double-double. He goes back home and has a big performance. He's looked really good over this stretch.
And more than good, comfortable.
Comfortable. That's the key word right there, comfortable. Like, I think that there has been moments this season where he's, fumbled the basketball around, wasn't in the right position, things like he definitely looks more comfortable in this offense. So that's super positive. I saw them put this out, Grizz PR put this out, 16th game this season with 130-plus points scored. That is a franchise record.
Well, I appreciate them spreading some positive news for every once in a while.
Yeah, so that's awesome that we are one of the best, not only one of the best offensive teams in the NBA, but arguably the best offensive team in Grizzlies franchise history. So that's pretty great. We mentioned the double-doubles, 7,000 points for Jaren. That's a milestone. He's the 7th Grizzlies player to ever do that in franchise history, so that was pretty cool. And Ja looks great too. Like it's all good right now, man.
All good right now. The Grizz are 35-16 through 51 games, alone in second in the West. 2.5 games of pulling away from them. Remember when we used to be looking up at the Rockets? Mm-hmm. That feels like forever ago. Yeah. Now they looking up at us, and we getting further and further away out in the distance. 6 games behind Oklahoma City, heading into that showdown on Saturday.
I can't wait.
Can't wait. The best team in the NBA, or at least the team with the best record in the NBA, is coming to FedEx Forum. They're 40-9, Oklahoma City. That's the record. Killed the Suns last night. Mm-hmm. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got 50 points on 29 shots and elevated himself to the tip top of the MVP conversation, at least according to stuff I was seeing on social media. 40-9. They got Toronto at home on Friday, so that's 41-9. You just saw the Raptors. They ain't nothing you saw last night makes you think they go into Oklahoma City and winning it. Did you? You didn't see nothing like that, did you? I mean, Scotty Barnes is...
No, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, 41-9 on Friday night. That's where the Thunder will be. And then they come here on Saturday, second night of a back-to-back for a game with the Grizz inside FedEx Forum. 7 o'clock tip for that. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. And the Thunder might, I emphasize the word might, look a little different when we see them this weekend because I'm assuming you saw this. Chet Holmgren is back. He's announced his return after missing nearly 3 months with a fractured hip. That's the other crazy thing about Oklahoma City. They're 40-9, about to be 41-9. Best record in the NBA. And depending on how you want to rank Thunder players, they've done this largely without their second or third best player. Depending on how you want to rank Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, their second or third best player has missed 39 of their 49 games, and they're still 40-9, will be 41-9 after Friday night's game. Assuming he plays Friday night, because that's what all the reporting is, do you think he also plays Saturday, second night of a back-to-back? After missing 3 months, do you play a back-to-back right out of the gate?
I really hope so, but no, I don't think so.
Why do you hope so? I would rather him not play.
No. I want full-strength Grizzlies
you
versus
want no excuses.
full-strength Thunder.
I see where you're at.
Now, of course, we're not going to be in full. Well, we might get Dez back. I did see some suggesting last night that there's a chance he could possibly return on Saturday. But let's just assume he's not going to play. So it's probably not going to be full-strength Grizzlies versus full-strength
You don't want to hear any of their little excuses over there in Oklahoma City.
No.
You don't want to beat their brains in and then have them say, yeah, but like it was the second night of a back-to-back and we didn't play Chet Holmgren.
Right. And
if we play Chet Holmgren, in the playoffs, you ain't going to get us on a second night of a back-to-back after we just had to play Toronto and Oklahoma City the night before. You ain't going to get us on a back-to-back. So congrats on your little win in downtown Memphis. But we didn't even play Chet Holmgren, so relax.
No,
you don't want to deal with any of that.
And I want to see where we stand up against them at full strength. That's the other thing.
This is what you call a measuring stick game, I think.
This is a measuring stick game, GP.
I think you've identified this as a measuring stick game.
Yeah, and we'll obviously see if our team looks the same as it does right now heading into that game.
Trade deadlines today.
Yep.
Hey, I saw Vince Williams and Marcus Smart got back into the lineup last night.
Well, in case you hadn't noticed, ever since the Luka AD trade, pretty much everyone in the NBA is playing now. Like everybody came back after that. If Luka Doncic can get traded, everybody's on alert, bro.
As you know, my wife owns a store, right?
Yeah.
And it's a clothing store for children. And I actually don't know if she does stuff like this, but it popped into my head just hear me out. Let's say you own a children's clothing store and you got something that you might be looking to sell, right? But you don't know if you're going to sell it or not. Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't mind selling it. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't mind getting rid of it. I don't know if she does this, but I'm confident there's other stores that do stuff like this. Why don't you put it in the window so people can see it?
Yeah, that's right.
Let them see it.
That's right.
Remind them what it looks like. Mm-hmm. It felt like on some level. I'm not saying that's what last night was, but just like Vernon and I were talking about yesterday, perhaps it was nothing more than a coincidence that after months of not playing, suddenly Vince Williams and Marcus Smart are both playing the day before the trade deadline. It could be just a coincidence. And if anybody insists that it is, let me be clear. Not even arguing.
Yeah.
All right? Not even arguing. But it was noticeable. Whether it's a coincidence or not, it was noticeable. And that's what I thought of. Hey, I got something for sale. Have you seen it lately? Mm-hmm. Well, let me show it to you. Hey, come over here and look at this Marcus Smart that I got for you. Yeah. Or maybe this Vince Williams that I got. Let me show you what I got here. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen before 2 o'clock today, but there was some big stuff happening last night.
There was a lot of big stuff happening last night, man.
Jimmy Butler plays for the Golden State Warriors now.
That's wild.
He signed an extension, too.
Steph
and Jimmy Butler are going to ride this thing out together. Whatever happens for the rest of Steph and Jimmy Butler's career, it looks like it's going to happen together.
Yeah, and if you're looking at it from a Grizzlies perspective, like it's, because obviously I think a lot of Grizzlies fans were like, well, if teams are getting on let's see if we can get in on the Jimmy Butler business. But the fact that they gave him the extension, I mean, the Grizzlies were probably never going to do that because they have to sign one of the best players in the world this summer to a long-term deal. So that was likely never going to happen. If the Grizzlies were going to get Jimmy Butler here, it was probably going to be just for this season as a rental. So it wasn't ever going to happen anyways. I do think it makes them better. It doesn't, I'm telling you, the team I'm scared of is the Lakers, bro. The Warriors getting Jimmy Butler, I think that improves them. I think they go from probably maybe not a playoff team to a playoff team. I don't know if I'm scared of them. I am scared of the Lakers.
Well, they made a deal last night. This is what you're referencing. They go acquire a 7'2" center who is defensively flawed early in his career. But you talk to people who follow that Charlotte franchise, they thought Mark Williams was going to be a part of that future.
Yep.
And now the Lakers have that, and it's Luka and LeBron and a young center who's averaging 16 and 10 for a bad team in the East, but still.
Yeah, but man, and again, I see a lot of this through a Grizzlies prism, but I watched that dude put up 38 points in here, the other night, and he looked really good. Again, people put up big numbers for bad teams.
Right.
I think we can acknowledge that, but they needed a center. They went and got what appears to be a pretty good young center. So, yeah, it makes me nervous.
What's interesting is that might be the thing. Like that deal that was made last night might be the thing that we look up years from now and we go, and that was a deal they made that helped them get another championship.
Dude, the other
but
thing,
it could come after LeBron's already retired.
That's true.
That's right.
True. Yeah. The other thing that's so annoying about it too is the freaking Luka trade was so outrageous that the Lakers had pieces to be able to pull off this other
They
trade.
didn't have to unload Dalton Connect to get Luka Doncic. Like I saw people
That's how bad that trade was, dude.
I saw people just throwing out hypotheticals. Like if you're Nico Harrison and you're really talking to Rob Pelinka, it's just like you say, all right, we'll do this. I'll come off a top 3 player in the world at the age of 25. I'll come off of him, but I'm going to need 2 first and Dalton Connect thrown into this stuff as well. And Rob Pelinka says, no, that's too. And you just say, okay, well, then we're done here. All right. Well, he ain't going to miss on the opportunity to get Luka Doncic over Dalton Connect. That is not going to stand in the way.
No.
All right? You will never, ever, ever want your legacy, if you're Rob Pelinka, to be, yeah, they could have got Luka Doncic at the age of 25, but he didn't want to come off of Dalton Connect. So this is how I think Nico Harrison is just genuinely not smart enough to do the job he's hired to do or equipped enough. Because this is just basic negotiating stuff. Is there any scenario where Rob Pelinka is going to let Dalton Connect blow up this deal?
No.
Of course not.
Dalton Connect, he could have easily been a Mav. Easily.
They just moved him for Mark Williams.
Yeah, dude. I just can't believe
So you know what you
that.
say?
Yeah.
You say, we'll do it, but we need 2 first. I need 1 with light protections, and I need Dalton Connect. And they say, that's a price too big. Okay, then we're done here. Hey, I guess I'll try. Okay.
They spoiler alert, they wouldn't have been done here.
No, of course not. You say, okay, well, I guess I'm going to open this up then. I'll call you back. I'm going to see what anybody else wants for. I want to see what anybody else will give me for Luka Doncic. You couldn't even get that sentence out of your mouth before Rob Pelinka would airdrop Dalton Connect's contact info to you. You couldn't even get that sentence out of your mouth before he would say, take Dalton Connect. So here's the point you're making, how this is all set up for the Lakers. It's outrageous. Like the Mavericks, just outrageous. If the Mavericks just do what first off, if the Mavericks do what any sensible franchise would have done, we're not even having this conversation. Luka Doncic is still in Dallas. All right? But if you just decide we're out of the Luka Doncic business because I hate his fat ass, or whatever it is.
By the way, he doesn't look fat to me.
We look pretty good.
He looks great.
It is wild how often we call basketball players and then I look at them and I'm like, I'd kill to look like that, right?
Dude, I know.
So you just decide I'm out of the Luka Doncic business. I can't stand this guy, all right? And I'm convinced we got to do it. I know when I do it, everybody's going to call me an idiot, but I know it's what we need to do. You still then got to get the best deal you can get. And here's what you do with Rob Pelinka. All the same stuff, but I need 2 first and a Dalton Connect. That's too big of a price. Okay, I'll just open it up. Okay, never mind. You can have Dalton Connect. Then Dalton Connect goes to Dallas. Guess what the Lakers then don't have to send to Charlotte? To get their starting center of the future.
A young piece.
It's just insane.
Yep. It's insane.
This is going to be Nico Harrison's legacy. This is what I cannot imagine voluntarily doing something that is so asinine that the entire world will forever remember you for this. And the truth is, the world should not forever remember you. Like, do you think the world will forever remember Chris Wallace? I mean, we will.
Yeah, we will.
But 10 years from now, you're just talking in NBA circles in a different town. It'd be like, remember Chris Wallace? And people go, what? Who? Oh, yeah, the guy in Memphis, Core 4. Oh, yeah, that was good. Oh, yeah, I know him before that Boston. Yeah, I know that guy. 30 years from now, you'll be able to say, remember Nico Harrison? And you'll go, oh, that dude. Woo! That's like Wally Pipp is a name you still hear in sports. Nico Harrison's going to be a name like that. How does this rank on the Nico Harrison scale of dumbest trades ever? Your name's going to be a thing forever because you did this deal.
Yeah.
And because you did it and required the Lakers to give you so little for it. You did a deal you should have done for anything. There is nothing the Lakers should have been able to give you that should have made you send them Luka Doncic. Nothing. Dalton Connect included. But because you made them send you so little, they had enough stuff to send over here. Now they got a starting center.
I hate it.
I
hate it.
It's a wild situation.
Yeah.
Whew. Mike Wallace. He's been covering the surging Grizzlies. Second best record in the West, fourth best record in the NBA. He ain't on much sleep, but I appreciate him being here. We'll catch up with him right after this break.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time. What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio, FedEx Forum, where the Grizzlies will host Oklahoma City on Saturday, 7 o'clock. That's the First Place Thunder coming to town. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. Inside the building on Saturday night is going to be Grind City Media's Mike Wallace. He joins me on Thursdays. He's here right now. Mike Wallace, thank you for being here. I know it's early for you given your travel situation. What time did you walk into your beautiful home last night?
Ooh, 2:45.
There you go.
Yeah, 2:45 a.m. It was a great trip though. It was a great trip. Toronto's a beautiful city. I just don't like the cold. I'm a tropical guy right now, GP. Miami spoiled me for all those years, and it was a late night, but it's all good, man. Looking forward to joining you here and also seeing what the Grizzlies have in store for today and then on Saturday, obviously.
We're going to talk trade deadline in a moment. First, let's talk last night because I know Toronto's not very good. The record indicates as much. But the Grizzlies still went in there, scored 85 points in the second half, win by 31, and continue to just now pull away from the Rockets and maybe not get into a position where they're going to be able to catch the Thunder, because the Thunder never lose. But you can continue to solidify yourself second place in the West, and they're really playing at a high level right now, almost without exception.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I was saying it last night that this Grizzlies team right now is finally understanding night in and night out what it's capable of doing. They're going to have some stretches where, you saw the first half, a team that's inferior is going to be able to hang around, and then till the Grizzlies figure out, okay, how much power is this team punching with? And once they feel that other team's power, and it's like, okay, we can absorb that. Let's kick it up to another gear. They can hit gears now. And these Grizzlies teams over the last few years, people ask all the time, what's the difference between being second place in the West this year versus the last two times the Grizzlies were there? And I say they know who they are this year. They know exactly what they're capable of doing this year. I think it was a lot of things that they were developing in those previous two times when they went second in the West. They were young. They were immature. This team knows what it needs to do. It knows what it's capable of doing. And the depth is just phenomenal. So I think that's the biggest difference right now.
I'll tell you another big difference, and that's that Jaren Jackson Jr. is a different player than he was 2 years ago. And I know Call 12 has long been a thing, and I'm happy to keep ringing that number every time we need it. But undeniably, Call 13 is now a thing, and he's not just one of the best young players in the world anymore. That's what we've called him for a little while. He's now one of the best players in the world, both ends of the court. And I know he's our defensive player of the year, but on offense now, he is becoming, when he catches the ball at the elbow and faces up, he is very difficult to deal with. He's becoming one of the hardest guards in the world as well.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. Like, I'm looking at, Jaren Jackson Jr. now, and I'm comparing him in a lot of ways to other guys that I saw at this stage of their careers and sort of covered him. He reminds me a lot, and different kind of player, different body type and all of those things. But in terms of coming into his own at this age, understanding his level of dominance, being able to do it at multiple layers, he reminds me a lot of Anthony Davis at 25, Chris Bosh at 25, right? So those two guys, you saw their games go to a completely different level once they figured out, okay, I understand my body right now. I know I'm stronger. I know that my game is fitting everything that I want to do. And Jaren, just when he pulls up from three-point range right now, you just feel like it's automatically going in because he gets on such heaters when it comes to that. But I really, really love Jaren's approach to the game mentally right now. He's such a connector with this team. He's okay with Ja going off for a 15-point quarter, knowing that it's going to come back to him eventually. He's okay with pick and rolls going to Zach Edey and Ja Morant, and then him having to step away and be on the opposite end of the wing to wait for that pass to come over there. Like, he's okay being a number one option. He's okay being number two. And even when he has to be number three, he's fine with that because he knows eventually it's going to circle back to him because no one can stop him one-on-one.
And Ja seems okay with it too. And I think this could like theoretically be a more difficult thing to deal with for Ja than Jaren, because I don't know what it's like to be the face of an NBA franchise, but when you have been identified as that, when you join a franchise and you're basically working alongside somebody else, and people look at both of you and they say, they're both great, but this is the face. And now I don't even know that that's flipped, because I think you go to any Grizzlies game, you're going to still see more kids in Morant jerseys, and certainly on the road, you're going to see more Morant stuff than you see anything. But the gap between them in terms of everything has clearly closed. And I say all that to say this. Ja hasn't hid from it. I've seen Ja retweet stuff about the greatness of Jaren Jackson Jr. I've seen Ja say things like he's the franchise. And I don't know if I don't even know if Ja believes it. And I don't know that it's an easy thing to say, but I like that he's sort of welcoming it instead of getting uncomfortable with it. And again, what people show publicly can be vastly different than what they show privately. It's just been what he's shown publicly has been encouraging from my perspective.
It is encouraging, and it takes Ja back to the comfort zone that he had at Murray State, where clearly he was the most talented, gifted. He was the lead singer of the rock band, right? Yeah. They knew who he was. But when he was at his happiest, and what he loved about those teams is that he could talk about different guys. The guys that he was, running with, the other teammates and those kind of things. He loved being a part of that group. And so I think there is a genuine nature in terms of how Josh supports Jaren Jackson Jr. at this phase. But you got to also remember, Jaren got here first. Jaren was the first part of this, next gen, iteration of the Grizzlies. He got here a year before, Ja Morant and all of Jaren Jackson Jr. went to the lottery to go meet Ja Morant when the Grizzlies got the number 2 overall pick. Jaren was the first one here to go to Taylor Jenkins' press conference when Taylor got hired. So this all started with Jaren. People, we kind of lose sight of that in some ways. But because of his personality and how he wants to accommodate everyone, he made room for everyone to get in. And now you're seeing Jaren take his mindset, his game, and all of that to the next level. But Ja is completely fine with it being like this. He knows he has definitely a number 1A guy beside him who can certainly take over at times. And it's helping because Taylor's doing a good job of toggling those two guys in terms of when they need to be effective.
So we're just a few hours away from the trade deadline passing. The Grizzlies have not made a move yet. There are trade deadlines where on this day, literally this day, I've said they need to make moves because you're headed to the lottery and you need to offload contracts to get young pieces, picks, whatever. There are other years where I've said you need somebody who can help you be a better basketball team this season. You need to give up the young people and go get a veteran now. As I sit here right now, I can play around with different deals on the internet the way everybody else is. I'm okay with them largely sitting where they're at. Like if I'm here tomorrow and we're like, and the Grizzlies did not make a notable move, I'm not going to rant and rave about it. Like, this is a team that is surging, a team that's got the 4th best record in the NBA, a team that's got seemingly good chemistry, a team that's got this record without even being healthy to any sort of reasonable degree this season. I'm not saying I want them to sit where they're at, but if they do, I don't think that's crazy or should be frustrating.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you from that standpoint. You're seeing all of these trades. The NBA is going crazy right now over these last week or so and last night because all of those teams that are in those moves are trying to get where the Grizzlies are. They're trying to get what Oklahoma City are. They're trying to get where Boston in the East and Cleveland in the East are right now. You're not seeing the Knicks, the Cavaliers, the Celtics, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Grizzlies, or even the Rockets for that matter, scrambling to make moves right now because they feel like they're fine with where they are. Now, if something falls in their lap or they get in one of these multiple team opportunities to pick up some assets and maybe be able to consolidate a little bit, whether it's financial consolidation or roster consolidation, I think the Grizzlies will take advantage of that in these next few hours. Zach Kleiman does not know how to sit still on a trade deadline. Like, if I would tell him that right to his face right now, and he would laugh because he knows that's true. He has not let a trade deadline pass without making some kind of deal because of all the work that they put in. But this isn't a team you really want to tinker with right now because of the chemistry that we just talked about between Ja and Jaren, because of the development of the young guys that there were assets that have now become productive pieces in Zach Edey, Jalen Wells, G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams Jr. just coming back, and Marcus Smart just coming back. So you basically have trade deadline acquisitions that were already on your roster. So we'll see if that means that they make another move or not. I wouldn't be surprised if they did either one of them, but I just know the penchant for wanting to do something just to tweak if it's for the future is always going to be there.
I'm not going to ask you if you think the Grizzlies should move off of Marcus Smart because those questions are always, there's too many variables to answer them with any sort of intelligence, because what your counter question would be is, well, for what, GP? Like, what's the deal? What are we getting back? Let me ask you this, because if you do a Google search for Grizzlies and trade and speculation, that's the name that comes up more than any. So do you agree with that assessment, that if a notable player is moved out of Memphis by 2 o'clock today, the most likely candidate is Marcus Smart?
Man, it's so tough. I would say yes because of all of the factors that you just lined up. Obviously he's a big salary guy at $20+ million. So moving him puts you in a deal where you can either get back, a player that comes off of your books this coming summer, as opposed to where Marcus has one more year left on his deal, or you flip him to make or create room because you're going to need some space this summer and next summer, potentially for Santi Aldama and potentially for Jaren Jackson Jr. So I can see the mechanics of that happening, but I'll also say if you get to the second round of the playoffs and you have to go up against Oklahoma City or Houston, and you need a veteran wing defender to go up against some of these guys that are going to be lights out, you're better with Marcus Smart. And we haven't seen him in the role that you traded to get him here for yet. We haven't seen it yet. So, again, you revisit that move maybe in the summer. I don't know if you have to do it right now. But it is a luxury. Marcus Smart right now for the Grizzlies in this regular season is a luxury, but so is Vince Williams Jr. because they got to this point without either one of those guys really contributing on a night-to-night basis.
Couple of things before I get you out of here on moves that have already been made. The biggest headline, Jimmy Butler is now a member of the Golden State Warriors. Not only has he been traded there, he signed an extension with them. It looks like he and Steph are going to spend their last great years together. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and whatever else they got to surround him with. Is that enough to move the needle for Golden State?
First and foremost, man, my thoughts and prayers go out to Ray Ritter. He's the best PR guy in the business when it comes to NBA PR staffs. He's going to be taking on a boatload with Jimmy Butler. Right? But you got the preeminent public relations staff in the NBA taking on potentially one of the biggest and most challenging, I don't want to say headaches, but just eccentric guys. And I want to see how that works out. That's going to be a challenge in and of itself. But having said all of that, I do think this is a lot like the Warriors when they were in 2022. Now they have the pieces right now for a playoff series. They're going to have to fight their way in because, Gary, if you look at the standings right now, they're on the outside looking in. So is San Antonio. So those two teams made some massive moves with De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs and obviously Jimmy Butler going to Golden State. They still have to replace two teams to even get into the play-in at this point. So it's going to be chaotic coming down the stretch for those last play-in spots. All of those teams have made moves and maneuvers to try to get something done. And then, oh, by the way, what is Phoenix going to do in these last few hours before we go there? Because that seems like it's detonating in the wrong direction as well, too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but I like the Warriors. I wouldn't want to go up against them in a playoff or a play-in scenario right now coming off the bat. But we'll see, man. It's going to be a lot of teams that are like that.
Last thing before I let you go, the big sports headline from the weekend, the Lakers steal Luka Doncic from Dallas. And because they had to give so little to Dallas to get Luka Doncic, they had stuff left up to be able to make a deal with Charlotte to get Mark Williams. And now they've got a young center who is young and defensively flawed, but is averaging 16 and 10 to go with LeBron James and Luka Doncic. For whatever it's worth, I went to FanDuel Sportsbook this morning, and the Lakers now have the third best odds to win the West, even better than the second place Grizzlies. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Mark Williams. Does this make sense to you as a Lakers Western Conference contender?
It doesn't. I got to see it before I believe it, right? Like I understand in a vacuum, Luka being in LA and LeBron being in LA, and I really love the move to get Mark Williams because as someone on the plane last night said, he looked like Wilt Chamberlain when they came right. in the second half of that game. But the thing about it is that I don't know how that is going to fit because you have one basketball and two guys who want to be in control of it at all times. Now, Luka made it work with Kyrie because Kyrie needed the basketball too. And he certainly, LeBron James is smart enough to acquiesce to Luka in certain scenarios. But, man, I got to see it come together first. I mean, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be compelling. But I'm not sure if it's going to be a winning formula. But it can't be any worse than where the Lakers were trending anyway. So I love what they did. I understand what they did. And, oh, by the way, I'm not down on Dallas for what they ended up with either. Right. Like if Kyrie can stay healthy and AD can stay motivated, that team is going to be extra dangerous as well, too, coming down the stretch.
That is Mike Wallace, Grind City Medias. Make sure you're reading him, GuideCityMedia.com. Follow him on X, @MyMikeCheck. That's @MyMikeCheck. I know it was a late night for you, buddy. I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Hey, all time. Hey, anytime, man. Take care.
You're the best. That's Mike Wallace, Grind City Media. On the Lakers, the issue with them is that they weren't a good defensive team. Mm-hmm. Even when they had Anthony Davis.
Yeah, right.
Who is like one of the great defensive players of all time.
Yeah.
And still one of the great defensive players in the world. So you're not a great defensive team with him. You add Luka Doncic, who just got moved, stupidly, but still in part because they decided in Dallas he won't guard anybody. Mm-hmm. All right? And then you add a young center who the people in Charlotte will tell you, he's really talented and got a bright future, But right now, he's a real problem on the defensive end.
Well,
So how do you stop people from scoring? And LeBron's 40. So how do you stop people from scoring?
It's funny you say that because I literally saw someone just post, hey, not to rain on anyone's parade, but Anthony Davis in his last matchup versus Mark Williams put up 43 and 23.
Right.
That's
right.
Damn.
Like, so here's what I actually believe. The Lakers are going to win a championship with Luka Doncic and Mark Williams someday. But it'll be after LeBron James retires. Because I don't think Mark Williams is ready to be that piece yet, but he could be someday.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, the Lakers are going to end up with LeBron's money off the books and a lot of money off the books. And they're going to have free agent money to go out and add a second star with Luka. And it'll be Luka Doncic, a star to be determined, and Mark Williams. And that's how they're going to win each other championship someday.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm not ruling out this season. And the reason, like, I know that the track record of these super teams as recently has not been great, right? Like, that's kind of fallen off a little bit.
We're now in a string of, hey, let's go get this veteran, and this veteran, and see if we could just pop it out of nowhere.
Right.
And, like, they tried it in Milwaukee, and it doesn't work. They tried it with the Clippers. It didn't work. They tried it in Brooklyn. They didn't work. Like, the Phoenix, not working.
I just think a Luka LeBron combo is outrageous and trumps that argument. Like, I don't know, man.
Except here's what we're learning about basketball at that level. Because if I just tell you got Luka LeBron, you go, that's enough. Except it's probably not. Because you know what else I can tell you? You got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
You got Giannis and Dame, and it's like, okay. That whole formula doesn't work anymore.
Believe it or not, they still are going to have money to be able to go get people like in the buyout market or whatever. Like that's how much they fleeced Dallas. Is they're still going to have some money to do another small move this trade deadline probably.
Well, it is. And some of this is influenced by Lakers fans get Luka, they're fired up, they're going to throw money at it, and so you manipulate the odds to take that into account. But for whatever it's worth, the Lakers do have the third best odds to win the Western Conference right now. They're not the third best team in the Western Conference right now. Certainly don't have the third best record in the Western Conference right now or anything close to that. Right now it's OKC 1, Grizz 2, Houston 3, Denver 4, and the Lakers are sitting at 5, right? But their odds to win the Western Conference are better than that. And it's because people believe that they have – I think they've helped themselves long-term more than short-term with these deals over the past few days.
I agree with that.
It's better for their long-term future than their – like, that's the thing. Nothing else matters other than this. You telling me we can have Luka Doncic for the next decade?
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure everything else out. Literally everything else we will figure out. Well, what are you going to do with LeBron? Not the most important thing. Well, are you willing to come off with Dalton Connect? Not the most important thing. Who's going to be your coach? What do you think about J.J. Rett? Not the most important thing. We have an opportunity to add Luka Doncic as the face of this franchise for the next decade. Okay, that's done now. Now we figure the rest out. They'll get Mark Williams. He'll give them, again, they got the third best odds in the West. They got theoretically, they got a shot right now, but more than anything, and I think Rob Pelinka would even tell you that, the Lakers have not set themselves up to kill it in 2025 as much as they have set themselves up to kill it from like 2026 to 2035. That's where they've set themselves up.
Yep.
Maybe more like 2020. You get the point, though. They are so – that franchise is so better positioned for the next decade now than it was this time last week. It is insane. And it's all because of Nico Harrison.
Crazy.
Woo.
Crazy.
Moving on, the Tigers won again last night.
Hey.
Told you not to be worried about no Tulsa Golden Hurricane. It was a quad 4 landmine. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, but P.J. Haggerty was good again. He's on an All-America trajectory. We'll discuss Tiger basketball. We'll do it next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Is Hulkamania officially dead?
Yes.
When you have over 17,000 people live, and you have Netflix premiere the biggest day in WWE history. And meanwhile, they boo him out of the building?
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you.
That is your core audience, and they don't want it.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Behind the back to Jared for the flash.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3. Yes, sir. Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score, Memphis 83, Tulsa 71. That's 6 straight wins for Penny Hardaway's Tigers. No real problems inside FedEx Forum last night, in part because they shot it well from 3 again. 9 of 21, 42.9% from beyond the arc, and they continue to lead the country in three-point field goal percentage. This was a thing that happened early in the season. Like, this isn't like some out-of-nowhere thing. They've been leading the nation in scoring for much of the season. They got off to a nice start shooting the ball. It was around 43, 44% from beyond the arc. And I think what I remember telling you is this might hold up to some degree, but I'd be shocked if we're looking up in February and they're still above 40% from 3 on the season and leading the country in three-point field goal percentage. But we're in February, and they're doing both of those things.
Yeah.
They're shooting 40.3% from beyond the arc, and that ranks number 1 in America. The question now isn't whether they're legitimately a great three-point shooting team, because at some point you just have to trust the numbers, right? I was reading various mock drafts the other day, and there was a player who's sort of a big riser from the offseason, right? You wouldn't have had him in the top 20 of a mock draft last August, but this player is finding himself in the top 20 of some mock drafts right now. And the author was writing about this player, and a lot of it is tied to, it's just the normal stuff you hear about prospects. You know, great size for his position, 7'4" wingspan, athlete, you know, these buzzy words.
Yep.
But it was, and is now shooting above 40% from 3 on X amount of attempts per game. And what the person wrote is, we are deep enough into his junior year where you can trust this. The sample size is big enough. And if you can say that about a player, you can also say that about a team. I know you can say, I didn't think Memphis was going to be a great three-point shooting team, so maybe I don't believe in this. That's what I said in November and December, and I guess in January. But we're now 75% through the regular season. There's enough here to believe that this is who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question becomes not whether they can continue to shoot it well from three. They've been doing it all season. Should they be shooting more? That would be my question. Now, it's hard to argue with the results because they're 19-4, and I'm not going to nitpick style of play when you're 19-4, and I've now got you up to number 11 in the top 25-1. But despite being, from a percentage perspective, the best three-point shooting team in America, they don't shoot that many relative to the rest of the sport. Like right now, only 35.3% of Memphis's field goal attempts per game come from beyond the arc. Now, with that context, I know that doesn't mean anything to you. Just know that it ranks 271st in the country. So nobody makes a better percentage of their three-point shots than Memphis. They rank number one. But 270 teams take a higher percentage of shots from three-point range than Memphis does. So that would be, like if you had an analytics staff on campus, that would be the thing they're trying to talk to you about now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're making them at a great rate, and we're making them from multiple positions. How can we get more of these shots into our offense? Again, it's nitpicking a 19-4 record, but I would be looking more at that. How do we get more of these? We're making them at 40.3%. All right, how can we maintain that rate but get up 4 more a game? What if we come down to 39% but get up 6 more a game? Is that worth doing? But the idea that we're even having these conversations is terrific. It means that the season continues to go well. So 9-1 now in the AAC, 19-4 overall. They continue to have a 1-game lead in the Lost Common League standings over UAB, but are currently projected at KenPom to win the AAC by 3 games.
Yeah.
And if they win the AAC by 3 games, they're going to have a top 4 or 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, and Penny Hardaway will win his first AAC Coach of the Year award. That's all on the table.
Avoided a little scare last night when Musa Cisse went down. That was looked bad at first, but he came back on the bench. So
and Penny
hopefully
said
it's
after the
nothing.
game, it's not. He said he's fine, thank God.
Yeah, because that would be. I mean, the front court. There's no depth. I mean, they got 3 guys.
Yeah.
So you need all 3 of them.
So PJ Haggerty again good, and I actually wrote about Memphis in the top 25-1, just because you got to have something to write about every morning. And sort of the point I made is transfer waivers and NIL packages have made players moving from campus to campus more normal than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not uncommon for somebody to be playing against their former school, former coach, former teammates. Tyrese Hunter did it earlier this year. He finds himself playing against Chris Beard.
Mm-hmm.
Here was PJ Haggerty last night playing against his former coach and some of his former teammates. It was interesting in his postgame. He was like, no, it's not like I hate those guys. I want to kill those guys. And he didn't say this, but my understanding is just like everything else. It was just a business decision.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't running from Tulsa as much as he was running toward Memphis.
Yeah.
More specifically, the NIL package that Memphis could offer. And all around the country, there are schools with buyer's remorse. Talk to a Kansas State fan about how they spent $2 million on Coleman Hawkins. They go crazy. But whatever Memphis paid for PJ Haggerty, that was money well spent. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to bring him back for next year, it's probably going to cost a lot more than it cost last offseason, because he's terrific.
Yeah, man.
You can only put 5 players on a first-team All-America team. That's important to remember. And one of them's going to be Cooper Flagg,
mm-hmm.
and one of them's going to be Janai Broome, and one of them's probably going to be Braden Smith at Purdue. So now we're talking about the rest of the country's really competing for 2 spots. So I don't know if he's going to be able to get there, but he's in the conversation. KenPom does a game MVP ranking with an algorithm, and he has been the MVP of 11 Memphis games this season. That ranks second nationally in the 12. Your leaders have 12 around the country. They, in this algorithm, have been the MVPs of their games 12 times. And PJ Haggerty is sitting at 11. He's been excellent. Memphis has only ever had 3 first-team consensus All-Americans, ever, in the history of the program. More likely to have a first-round NBA draft pick than that. I mean, Derrick Rose was the number 1 pick in the draft, but not a consensus first-team All-American. Your consensus first-team All-Americans, Tiger basketball all-time, Keith Lee, did it twice, 83 and 85. Penny Hardaway, 1 year. Chris Douglas-Roberts, 1 year. P.J. Haggerty has a chance to join that list. And when you join that list, I know this is kind of crazy to think about because 6 months ago, most Memphis fans didn't even know who P.J. Haggerty was. Mm-hmm. But his name could be hanging in that building someday. If you are a consensus first-team All-American, that's the type of thing that gets your name put up in a building. So he's
awesome.
He's having a special redshirt sophomore season. This is his 3rd different campus in 3 different years. It's sort of the state of college athletics. But he's an awesome college basketball player. He's been really good, and he was really good again last night.
Number 2.
Jacksonville Jaguars have hired a new offensive coordinator. And this isn't the type of story I would normally be interested in. Like, I don't even know who that is. Grant Udinski, you follow the NFL closer than I do. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. Neither do I. He was a co-offensive coordinator with the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what's interesting about him. You can probably tell by looking at him, he's young. He's 29 years old.
Okay.
I love this story because I saw it pop up this morning. And I said, okay, I don't know anything about this guy. Let me read. Because I'm going to be able to, I can predict his success by reading his Wikipedia page.
Okay.
I swear I think there's something to this. I went to his Wikipedia page, and you know what I found? He played football at Davidson and Towson. He's not related to anybody you know. He didn't play for Nick Saban. He didn't play for Urban Meyer. He doesn't know Bill Belichick. That's just a guy. That's just a guy who has reached this point in his life with no advantages whatsoever. He's not supposed to be here. He's 29 years old. He was a mid-major college football player. Decided to go to grad school after graduating college and enrolled at Baylor to go to grad school and decided while he was there, I'll try to become a football coach. Let me be clear. He didn't go to Baylor to become a football coach. He went to Baylor to go to grad school and then said, I wonder if I could become a football coach. And Matt Rule was the coach there at the time. He became a grad. They had no relationship. It wasn't like Matt Rule said, come be. They had no relationship. Can I be a grad student? Sure. Same way if I wanted to, sure. And it's not the same way. It's actually different. But like if I wanted to pick up the phone and say, hey, Chris Beard, my oldest son is a senior at Ole Miss, and he's going to go to grad school next year, and he just wants to be a part of the basketball program. Could you let him be a graduate manager on staff? Yes, I could make that happen, right? But that would be me making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, this guy didn't even have a dad to make that phone call. He just went to Baylor to be a grad student and wanted to be a coach, and he is lucky enough to Matt Rule say, yeah, you can be a grad assistant, whatever. And was so impressive in that year. Oh, by the way, as he's a grad student and assistant at Baylor in Waco, you know where he lived? In his car in a Walmart parking lot until people realized he was living in his car in a Walmart parking lot. And then he moved in with one of the assistant coaches. That's who this guy is. No advantages. All right? Was so impressive in his 1 year. I didn't know this guy's name yesterday. I learned all this morning. I just love stories like this. Was so impressive in like 1 year at Baylor with Matt Rule that when Matt Rule went to the NFL, he said, you come with me. And he's been bouncing around the NFL ever since. He was in Minnesota last season and now is hired at 29 years old to be the offensive coordinator in Jacksonville. He will be the youngest offensive coordinator in the NFL. To be clear, he's not going to call plays because their new coach is going to call plays, but he's going to be the offensive coordinator. He's in some ways the face of the offense at the age of 29. And I remember the last time you and I had a similar conversation. You won't remember it, but we had a similar conversation about a football coach several years back. You won't remember it, but it stuck in my head, and when I read this, it made me think of it, and I can connect them.
I'm trying to think of like young head coaches in the NFL.
Well, it's not that. You'll know it when I say it.
Okay, go ahead.
But you're not going to get it. When Mike Norvell promoted Kenny Dillingham to offensive coordinator at Memphis, You know what I told you? I think I met Kenny Dillingham, but I certainly don't know him well. I've never had a meal with him or a drink with him or anything like that. But we follow each other on Twitter, all right? I don't really know much about Kenny Dillingham. I haven't really talked to Mike Norvell about Kenny Dillingham. But I bet you this guy's great, and you want to know why? Because you don't even look at 27-year-olds, and that's how old Kenny Dillingham was at the time, to be the offensive coordinator of your Division I college football program unless they're special. Now, change his name to Kenny Calipari, and now I'm not as interested because I know how you might have got on that staff. So when I see, and I'm not picking on Brad, but like when I see Brad Calipari, oh, he's in his 20s and on staff at Arkansas. Well, yeah. His dad's in, Stephen Pearl at Auburn, some of these guys are good, some of these guys are not. But like, the reason Stephen Pearl is an SEC assistant at a very young age is because his dad's Bruce Pearl, right? The reason Brad Calipari is an SEC assistant at a very young age is because his dad's the head coach, right?
Yeah.
Same thing for Bill Self's son. Same thing for Billy Donovan's son. I'm not taking anything away from any of those people. Like Joe Buck is amazing. Even though his dad opened doors for him, Joe Buck's amazing. Just because your dad or mom or somebody was great and they help you get to a different place doesn't mean you can't also be great. But that's why Brad Calipari's on staff at Arkansas. Kenny Dillingham was not on staff at Memphis as the offensive coordinator because his dad was the head coach or because his dad put him in that position. You know why he was there? Because Mike Norvell, who was also identified as a young, amazing talent, identified another young, amazing talent. And you know what he said? No, I shouldn't hire somebody like this and give him this responsibility. Do you know what Mike Norvell knew the day he promoted Kenny Dillingham? You just immediately made this guy the youngest offensive coordinator in college football, period, across the board. Youngest in the country. Why do you do that? Because he's amazing. I wasn't looking to hire a 27-year-old, but I'm looking at this 27-year-old, and this is the right guy for the job. I'm always fascinated by those types of things, and I believe in them more than I don't. Oh, you want another example in the building? Zach Kleiman. I promise you, when Zach was hired to be a member of this franchise, nobody envisioned him running this franchise. But you know what happened? He got in here, and you know what everybody saw? Yeah, this guy's young. Doesn't have a traditional basketball background. But there's something different about this guy. He's sharp. He's smart. He's here every day. I've never talked to Zach about this. I guarantee you it's true. When they hired him, they had no idea he would ever run this entire franchise someday. Right? From a basketball perspective. When you see young people get elevated and they don't have an obvious reason as to why, last name, mom, dad, help, played for some crazy coach who can just like make a phone call and get them inside a room, those people are almost always gonna. You ready? Think of Hall of Fame basketball coaches. John Calipari, hired in his 30s. Billy Donovan, late 20s. Rick Pitino, late 20s. John Calipari might have been late 20s. This guy's the next version of that. Oh, Kenny Dillingham, by the way, is now the head coach at Arizona State and had just had him in the college football playoff. All right? When I read this story, that's what I thought of. There is no reason somebody who played mid-major college football and slept in his car as a grad student at Baylor should, at 29 years old, be an offensive coordinator in the NFL. The only reason this happens is because multiple people who know football have looked at this guy and said, this is somebody who's super impressive. I bet you this guy does. I won't pay attention to him at all just as soon as you hit story number 3 for the next year or so. I bet you we'll look up someday and this guy was going to be an NFL head coach. And we'll remember he was once the youngest offensive coordinator in the NFL. And that's the sign of super talented people, when other people identify it at such a young age. I'll be rooting for that guy now, and I didn't know who he was 2 days ago.
Number 3.
Stephen A. Smith continues to insist he's not going to run for president of the United States, but continues to tell anybody who will listen, and some who aren't, that if he did run for president of the United States, he could at the very least win the Democratic primary. Do you think he's right?
I would say no. But You know, I didn't ever think that like a celebrity would become a president. So,
yeah, you can no longer, as an American, just dismiss stuff like this out of hand.
No, I don't
because
think
we
you
lived
can.
through it. We
Yeah.
are living through it. It happened.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody knows this if you're old enough to know it. But like when Donald Trump first announced he was running for president, it was a joke.
That's right.
Everybody joked about it.
Yeah.
Like Barack Obama joked about it to his face at that annual dinner they have.
Yeah.
Like that was the joke. Like go back and find it on YouTube. There's like the entire political world is laughing at the guy. It wasn't taken seriously at all. He's now saying he's going to take over the Gaza Strip as president of the United States. Like we're living. So you can never just be 20 years ago. The guy on ESPN is going to be president of the United States. You'd be like, that's crazy. You can't say it's crazy anymore because this is where we're at as a country. I'll believe him when he says he's not going to run because I think there's plenty of reasons not to run. The one he points to is I like my life. And that's the best reason not to run. You just like your life. Plus, if you run for any kind of office like this, just you have to go ahead and assume the worst things you've ever done, even if you think nobody knows about them, they're coming out.
Somebody's going to find out, right?
Somebody's going to be accusing you on late night television of humping a couch. Whether you did that or not, if somebody's ever said that about you or it's ever been hinted at in a book, that's something you're not going to have to deal with.
Right.
So most of us just don't want to deal with that type of thing. Like the idea of running for office and then holding a press conference and somebody being like, Mr. Parrish, there's a story at dailymemphian.com today citing 3 sources who were with you at the High Tone in 2001. And it's like, all right, I don't even want to get involved in this. I don't need to know.
Yeah,
I don't need to know. I
Yeah.
don't need to know what. It's probably true.
Yeah.
You know what? It's probably true. I don't remember, but if they said it, it's probably true, right? So I think Stephen A. Smith, he sort of indicated, I just don't want to deal with that. I just don't want to do it. Like, I've been single my whole life. I don't need people asking questions about what I've been up to my whole life. Plus, why do I want to go meet with the president of France when I can yell about Patrick Mahomes for 30 minutes and then live my amazing life? So I believe him when he says he has no interest in actually running. I also believe him on some level when he says he thinks he could win the Democratic primary. Because I have now watched him dabble in politics, like jump on CNN one night and jump on Fox one night and jump on Bill Maher one night. And he's good. He's a good talker. I mean, that's why he's about to make $20 million a year with his next contract. I know not everybody loves him, and I don't even love him. I don't even watch him, if I'm being honest. But he is great at being Stephen A. Smith.
There's no question.
He's just great at it. And the thing that you'll find interesting about him as he's talking politics, I actually find him more interested on some level talking politics than I find him talking sports because he can still talk. You know, he's just a great talker. That's why they have him talking about everything, by the way. I know some people, because I see it on social media, they're like, why do they have Stephen A. Smith talking about baseball? You know he doesn't even follow baseball that much. You know why? Because he's a great talker. You could find people who might know more about baseball than Stephen A. Smith, but you can't find anybody that's going to talk about it in a more entertaining way tomorrow morning than Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, that's true.
So the reason they want him talking about everything is because he's a great talker. You can hate all you want, but he's just a great talker. He's great at it. So what's interesting about watching him dabble in politics is he's beholden to nobody. And most people who have to go on television and talk about politics, they're bought and paid for. Or at least they're committed to one side or the other. And this might be the actual explanation for why he couldn't win the Democratic primary. If you were arguing against it, it wouldn't be based on his ability to out-talk people, because he could out-talk people. It would be that the machine's too big, and you got to pick a side. And if you don't pick a side, you can't play in the middle. You got to be here or here, because you got to have the money, and you can't have the money unless you're aligned with this side or you're aligned with this side. You can't go nowhere without the money. You really can't go anywhere without the machine. I mean, Bernie Sanders found this out one time. The machine was not going to let him be the candidate. And then, frankly, Joe Biden found this out last time. It got to a point where the machine just wasn't going to let him be the candidate. So the machine might just not let somebody like Stephen A. Smith be the candidate. But if you just left it up to polling and let him just keep talking, he would do well in polls. And here's why. Because he's not beholden to either side. He will go on CNN and be right of the people he's talking to, but be mostly sensible. And then he'll go on Fox and he'll be left of the people he's talking to, but be mostly sensible. He'll be right here. Fox is over here, or more accurately, over here.
Mm-hmm.
CNN's over here. And you know where Stephen A's talking every time I see him? Right in here. He's in here. And this is where most of America is, but you can't win elections being in here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where my neighbors are. I mean, probably not all of them. But the reasonable people I'm around, they're in here somewhere. They're not out here.
Yeah.
People exist out here, but this is the biggest problem with politics in America right now, I think. To win, you got to be here or here, but most of America's in here somewhere. And they pull us out here, but most of us are here. So you know how Stephen A. can be effective? By just going in and playing in these lines. If you are tied to the left and you go on television and say anything that runs counter to that, they try to bury you. If you are tied to the right and you go on television and say anything that runs counter to that, criticize Donald Trump even once, they'll bury you. Well, Stephen A. Smith's like, I ain't with either one of you. You might not be able to win an election without being with either one of them, but you can be a great talker on TV without being with either one of them. So he'll go on Fox News and criticize Donald Trump and sound smart because nobody else will do it. Then he'll go on CNN and say Kamala Harris was a joke and sound smart because nobody else will do it. He just plays in these lines right here. This is what's interesting to me about where we are in politics right now. Most of America is in here somewhere. But to represent a party, the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, you got to be outside these lines. But most of America is inside here. Most of America believes both of these things I'm about to tell you. It's just true. Most Americans, not most Republicans, not most Democrats, most Americans believe both of these things. That we need stricter gun laws in this country. Most Americans do believe that. But if you say that out loud, you cannot represent the Republican Party. All right? Even though most Americans believe that. You could agree with the Republican Party on everything else, but if you say that, you can't win. All right? Even though most of Americans agree with you. You ready for this? Most Americans also agree with this. We should not have transgender women competing in women's sports. Most Americans agree with that. The polling is crystal clear. But if you say that, you lose the left. You can't represent the Democratic Party while saying that. Well, Stephen A. Smith will say both of those things. He'll be right in the middle of both those things. He'll say them both in the same 5 minutes on the same television channel. And you know what's happening when most of Americans are watching that? Go watch the thing he did with Bill Maher. All he did was say things in the middle of the right and left, and the crowd was loving him. Because that's what most of America is right now. If you could ever figure out how to get the money to navigate in that space or create another party in that space, just a common sense party. We're not going to agree with everything on the left. We're not going to agree with everything on the right. We're going to pull from both sides and create a party right here. That would be something most people align with. And when he's talking right now publicly, that's what he sounds like. I don't know that you could win anything without the power and all of the stuff that goes into it behind it. But the reason his polling numbers are going up. He actually has polling numbers. That's where we're at. Stephen A. Smith has polling numbers. And they're going up every time he talks on TV. And the reason is because he is saying things that most politicians cannot say. He's saying things right of the left and left of the right, but in here somewhere. You cannot be a Republican or a Democrat talking like that these days because they don't want you if you stray just a little bit. Mm-hmm. But you can be sensible for most of America if you talk that way, and that's what he's been doing lately. We'll see where it goes.
Number 4.
Woohoo! LGM, Pete Alonso's a Met again. Bennett, be happy for me.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Who are you talking to nonstop over there?
I was just.
What is so interesting in that chat that you type the entire time?
Well, I'm not. I'm looking.
I've been watching.
I'm refreshing Sham's page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to stay up on this so we don't miss anything.
Okay. Pete Alonso, this was always the way it was going to be after it became clear that there's just not a market for a 30-year-old coming off the worst season of his career. So he loves New York. Mets fans love him because he hits big home runs. And he turned down a deal last summer. This is where it got all messy. He turned down 7 years, $158 million. They offered that to him, and he turned it down. He said, I'm in a contract year. Basically tried to do the same thing Aaron Judge did the year before.
Yep.
I'm turning down big money. I'm in a contract year. I'm going to bet on myself. Well, he bet on himself. You know what happened? He had the worst year of his career and turned 30. And so the Mets said, all right, well, let's figure out how to get a contract done. And he said, you know what? I'll just take that $7,158 that you offered last offseason. Let's just do that. Well, we offered that before you were coming off the worst season of your career, so that ain't on the table anymore, buddy. And now your feelings get hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bennett, you've been in negotiations. All seriousness, not like to this level, but like you've had to negotiate with people. Think about what that must feel like. They offer you one contract, you turn it down, then you're like, you know what? On second thought, I'll take that contract, and they say, oh no, that's over. We'll give you a new contract, less than the one you already turned down. If you want to stay with us now, you don't even get what we offered you 6 months ago. If you want to stay with us now, it's even less than that. Even if it's all sensible, your feelings are hurt, aren't they?
Yeah, so I would think so.
So it got nasty, and you know what happens then? All right, y'all want to treat me like this? I didn't want to leave, but y'all going to treat me like this? I'll go. Okay, go. Where are you going? Who's paying you? You're 30 years old. You strike out a lot, and you're coming off the worst season of your career. You're more valuable in New York than you are anywhere else. We still want you to hit behind Juan Soto, but we're not going to pay you what we thought you were worth a year ago because the past year suggested to us you're not worth it. So the feelings are all hurt. But most people around that franchise said, here's what's going to happen. He's going to go out, have his agent talk to Toronto and talk to everywhere. And they'll put deals on the table, but they're not going to blow them away. Why? Because they got less money than the Mets anyway. And
they went and got my guy.
And nobody wants to commit a bunch of years. The years he's looking for, nobody wants to give him those years. He's 30 years old, coming off the worst season of his career. And he's big-bodied and like not an athlete. And you're going to end up, you give him 7 years, 4 years of those are going to be DH. So now what do you...
Right.
So go figure out your market and then, you know what you're going to have to do? Come back to us and say, all right, what you got? And that's what they did because he got nowhere to go. So they gave him $30 million this year.
And then he can opt out.
He can opt out after 1 year or opt in for $24 million next year. But it's a team-friendly deal where you keep a fan-favorite player in a lineup behind Juan Soto. I love it. I would not have wanted him to do 7 years on him, and I love Pete Alonso. Maybe my best baseball memory in person ever is with my middle son, Oliver, at Citi Field, watching Pete Alonso hit a grand slam in a game that went from a Mets blowout loss to a Mets blowout win. Like the most fun I've ever had in a baseball park was created by Pete Alonso. I'm glad he's a Met. I would not want him on 7 years. So he's only 27 homers from becoming the all-time home run leader franchise history. So this summer, hopefully he breaks that. And then he can, if he opts out, that means he had a good year. Congratulations. And if he's a Met till he retires, I'll take that as long as it's on a reasonable contract. But I am glad that when John Heyman tweeted across the world last night, Pete Alonso will be a Met for at least one more season. That's 2 thumbs up from me.
Number 5.
In-N-Out is coming to Tennessee. First to Nashville, Bennett. Why do they get first every time?
Because they're better than us.
Well, you didn't have to say it like that. I mean, you didn't have to say it like that. I mean,
I'm just kidding.
That's a hell of a thing to say,
I'm
Bennett.
just kidding.
They're going to get a WNBA team. They're going to get an In-N-Out. They've already got an MLS team. We lost our soccer team. They got an NFL franchise, not a good one, but they got one.
Yeah. They're getting a new stadium.
And now they're getting In-N-Out.
Yeah.
That's fine. We got
I think we're getting like 4.
Eventually.
Okay.
How do you think this is going to work?
What do you mean?
Okay. I believe part of the allure of In-N-Out is that it is not available everywhere. So, like, if you're a Californian, you can be like, I love In-N-Out because you guys out on the East Coast, you can't really have it. So I love it because you can't have it. Mm-hmm. And then if you're from, like, here or East Coast, you're like, I love In-N-Out. That's what you tell your friends. And it's like, well, what's In-N-Out? Because your friends ain't never been nowhere. They ain't never been to Peru. So you're just trying to, the reason you love In-N-Out, or the reason you love to say you love In-N-Out, it's just a device so you can say, well, when I was in California.
No, it's true. It's the
true.
lore. Yeah, no, it's true.
It's so now what do we do when they put one at the corner of Poplar and Mendenhall? And it ain't this thing we get to do when we go to California or Vegas. And it's just right there. Because I will tell you, I love In-N-Out. But I thought I loved Whataburger.
Mm-hmm. But you only liked it because you got it when you were driving through Alabama.
They put a Whataburger.
And you never go to it.
A half a mile from my wife's store.
Uh-huh. And you don't ever go.
I have to pick my kids up.
I haven't gone either to any of them.
Okay. I'm telling you, they opened that Whataburger, and there was a line out the street blocking. It looked like a car rider line, all right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, I'm like, man, we got a Whataburger now. Everybody says Whataburger's great. Let's go to Whataburger. And we ordered the whole deal. We sat down, and it was like, okay. I have never been back, never thought about going back. And when I drive by it, it's empty every day.
Yeah. Well, okay. One, the quality's better. I mean, In-N-Out's a better.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
One of the things they would always tell you about In-N-Out, like, man, this is in L.A. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Why can't we get these in Detroit?
Mm-hmm.
And they'd say, well, it's because of the ingredients.
Oh, they have special ingredients?
Special ingredients, because it's like West Coast ingredients. And, like, you can't just have these tomatoes everywhere. You can't just have these tomatoes in Indianapolis. So you can't possibly have an In-N-Out. That's what they tried to say.
I don't buy that.
I didn't ever know about it either, but that's what they said.
I don't buy that.
That's what they said. That's what they said. But now they seem to be saying something else because they're bringing In-N-Out to Memphis, Tennessee at some point.
I used to be pro gatekeeping. Now I'm anti gatekeeping in my older age, and so I'm against the gatekeeping of In-N-Out. Like they should be all over the country. People like it. It should be all over. It's the same thing with like when you'll see like a barbecue place here, like a wing place here, open a location in like Dallas or Houston or something like that, and it's like, they should just come here. No, I'm anti-gatekeeping. I want everyone to be able to
everybody to have Gus's.
Yeah, I want everybody to have a Gus's. Yeah,
that's why I was. First trip to Gus's was Mason, Tennessee. I went to Gus's, Tennessee. My wife and I's first date.
That's pretty cool.
Fried chicken in Mason, Tennessee.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It was, and it's a true story.
Mm-hmm. I get annoyed with the gatekeeping, bro. People do it online. Like someone will post a picture of, look at this incredible burger that I just had. It's like the greatest burger I've ever had. And then, of course, the comments will be like, where is it? And it'll be like, well, this is my spot. Like, I don't want to blow it up or
People
anything.
do that?
Yes, dude.
You see people do that?
Yes.
I would
that is
unfriend
a thing.
somebody who did that.
No, gatekeeping on social media is a thing. People love doing that.
If I saw somebody did that, I would unfriend them immediately.
I would too. We everyone should be able to enjoy everything.
Okay, on this note.
Yeah.
Now we're just talking.
Okay, that's fine.
But
it wouldn't be a Gary Parrish show without it.
Okay, so under the same umbrella you're referencing here.
Yep.
Hey, I got this burger. Hey, I want to show you this amazing thing.
Yeah.
First off, just eat your burger. Why do I even know? Like, I have amazing meals all the time. I know. Whatever, do whatever you want. I don't care. It's people can handle social media whatever they want. Do whatever you want.
I agree.
But like I've done it before, so I don't want to be like saying this and somebody goes back to 2007 and they're like, well, GP, you sure did like this steak. So whatever. I got it. Okay, do whatever you want with social media. But to your point, look at this amazing burger I just got. And somebody goes, because when you do that, you just want people to tell you how.
Where'd you get it?
Right.
Where is this?
And then to say, well, I can't say.
Yeah.
Similarly, and maybe not similar at all, but this is what it made me think of.
Okay.
I hate this so much.
What?
When people jump on Facebook and they will say, this is what they'll put on their Facebook page.
Okay.
Could really use some prayers tonight.
Oh, and then they don't say what it is.
You are not getting my prayers unless you tell me what it is.
I want the full description of what's going on.
I need to know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. Don't be vague with me.
Don't be vague with me on Facebook trying to turn me into a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
That's what they'll say.
Earn my prayers.
You got to earn my prayer.
Yeah, I agree.
You think I'm dropping down on my knees talking to God? Mm-mm. You just won't even tell me what's going on?
Yeah, you could just be wanting a new In-N-Out location to open in Memphis.
No chance.
Yeah, I'm not giving you my prayers for that.
No chance. It'd be like, oh, hey, prayer warriors, could really use you tonight. And everybody's like, I got one for you right now. And I'm like, I'm praying against you now.
Yeah.
I am more likely to pray against you than I am to pray for you, given how vague you are with this. Because now, you know what I end up doing now? I end up, and I don't got time to do this shit, but I end up then, I'm like, all right, do I know anybody who's friends with this person?
Yeah, what's going on here?
And then I'm like, would it be inappropriate for me to send a message to this other person and be like, hey, what's going on with Kimberly?
Yeah.
I'm like in it now. And I just spent 7 minutes thinking about this, and I'm like, I really should just be ranking basketball teams right now. Why am I spending 7 minutes thinking about whether I should be a prayer warrior or not?
Yeah, I'm never praying for you.
I am not. Just
unless
know
I get
that.
a full description of your troubles.
If we're Facebook friends, just know if we're Facebook friends, I probably have no idea who you are. Okay, but if we are Facebook friends, just know that if you ever need a prayer warrior, I am not there for you unless you describe exactly what we're after. So if it's like, hey, prayer warriors, could really use you tonight, there's no chance I'm praying for you. But if you say, hey, prayer warriors, could really use you tonight because my grandmother fell. And they're saying she's going to have hip surgery in the morning, but they're unsure whether she's strong enough to take the anesthesia, could really use you tonight. I'm not even the praying type, and I'd feel like an asshole if I didn't go, man, I hope so-and-so's grandma's okay tomorrow.
Yeah.
God, if you're listening. I mean, I'll participate in that.
Yep.
I had grandmas. I didn't want them to fall.
No.
But you got to be that specific. And if you don't want to be that specific on your main page, send me a private message. Just be like, GP, I know you probably saw I need some prayer warriors. I didn't want to get into it publicly, but my grandma fell.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I'll hit you with a little heart. I always get confused with this one, too. Somebody's grandma falls on Facebook.
Do you like it?
What do you do? What's the proper? So there's the heart, and that's I lean toward the heart because it's just like heart's love.
Have a heart,
like heart. But then other people lean toward that. It's like a hug in a heart or hugging something, and that says care. And I never know which one to do, the heart or the care. You're very confused.
I'm not on Facebook, so I'm not familiar with the stuff with the emojis on Facebook. But like on Instagram or Twitter, like it's. I mean. Yeah, like I'll like if somebody posts something that's like my grandma died, I'm so sad.
Would you hit the heart or the one that hugs?
Well, they don't have the hug. Or not on mine. Maybe I need to update.
Well, on Facebook they definitely have a hugging option.
I didn't know that,
and it feels like it's split like 50-50 almost sometimes, and I never know which one to do.
I think when somebody goes out of their way to post something alike, if you like it, it's just understood. Like I'm liking what you're putting out here. Like I'm not liking that your grandma's dead.
Right.
I'm just liking.
I think I know you got to be a little more. That's a heart emoji, I think.
Yeah.
But like the ones that get confusing is when you have the. Here's what I think's the truth. I don't know that this is true. Here's what I believe is true. I believe if somebody says, "Look at my little baby boy, isn't he the most beautiful?"
That's when I do thumbs down.
And he's coming. Because most people's baby boys, if we're being honest, are not that beautiful. Like most babies are not.
Babies are ugly.
Not all. There is a beautiful baby, but.
No, babies aren't cute until they're like a year old, bro.
But there is a beautiful baby out there. There is one.
I have babies.
It's just that the ratio is not nearly what moms think it is.
Everyone thinks their newborn baby
and it's not. Like
your newborn baby ain't that cute.
Like
sorry.
9 out of 10 of your newborn babies are ugly.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
But then when the baby's like 1, they're beautiful.
Not all of them. Some of them not.
Of them aren't.
I mean, I've seen some ugly 1-year-olds, buddy. Some ugly 2-year-olds. I'll see somebody throw a 5-year-old every once. I'll see somebody throw a 13-year-old every once in a while. They'll be like, look at my daughter. She just turned 13. Isn't she beautiful? And I'm like, no, she's not beautiful.
Damn, that's
what?
Yeah, I'll give you a like. I'll hit
a like, but like, what am I actually thinking? Absolutely not. Here's what I believe. Here's how it works. Somebody says, "Hey, look at my baby boy. He's healthy." This is exactly how it works, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Dad jumps on Facebook. Just wanted to let you know, we had our little baby boy last night. Mom and baby boy are resting. Everybody's happy and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a heart.
That's a heart.
I'm going to love that. All right? But my grandma died. That's a hug.
Okay.
That's the hugging emoji. They're both rooted in love, but one is like, I love that everything's going so well, and one is, I love you and I'm hugging you right now. I think that's what it means.
Okay.
But it's a lot. You can tell I put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No wonder you don't get any sleep.
I do put a lot of thought into this.
This man's up at 2 a.m. looking at a post like, what the hell do I do?
And the fire emoji, don't even touch that one at my age.
Yeah.
There is nothing
never
good
do fire. Never do fire. Never do fire.
Never.
Yeah, I'll never do fire.
If you look in the mirror and you look more like me or him, then say,
don't you ever touch the fire emoji.
No, that is so out of line. Even when you think it's what you should be doing, it is so obviously what you shouldn't be doing. That fire emoji is not for you. I will never touch that fire emoji.
I'll never touch it.
If I knew how to get it out of
10-foot pole. I'd delete it.
If I knew how to get it off of my phone, I would delete it.
I'd delete it
That thing
too.
can only cause you problems.
Yep.
I wonder how many divorces that fire emoji has created over the years.
Or at least uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah. I saw you liking. I saw
you put fire on her beach pics.
First off, I just
thought they were a beautiful family.
When is it okay? At what age does it get where you cannot put a fire emoji on somebody's beach pics anymore? Like if my friends who's like our kids are friends, and like so we eat Mexican food together sometimes, and they go to the beach, and she's in a swimsuit. Do you know how wildly inappropriate it would be for me to hit the fire emoji and then have to go to Mexican dinner tomorrow night?
Yeah.
I just can't even.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'm just not doing it.
No. I'm staying away from that. Well, I'm glad we're getting an In-N-Out burger.
That's what I'm happy about too. You know, it's
and quick gatekeeping.
Yeah, and quick gatekeeping. I didn't even know people were doing that.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
I don't like that.
It's an epidemic. Yeah.
I don't like that. All right. Well, all right. I think that covers it.
Okay. No trades yet.
I think that covers it. No trades yet. Nobody's trading anything yet. I think that covers it. We'll be back with GP's Carryout.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom now.
Shinedown, Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio. It's nice being back inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio.
It's good to have you back, man.
It's nice to be here.
Back.
In all seriousness, it was nice just to sit on my couch last night and lay in my bed last night and take a shower in my shower.
Yeah,
it was nice. I felt nice just being home.
You seem refreshed. I think after that 20th straight stream on Skype, you were starting to look like you were beaten down a little bit.
That's just a hard, every time I finish talking about that, I get mad at myself because my life's amazing.
Right.
And other people's lives
so is mine.
Aren't that great. And there are people with real worries on a day-to-day basis that I'm fortunate enough to just not have. And so I'll be doing a show and I'll be like, I was up till 3 in the morning And I have this moment after I'm done where I'm certain there's somebody out there being like, well, I would love to be up till 3 in the morning in a nice hotel in New York City, making a comfortable living, talking on TV.
Yeah.
Instead, GP, I don't even, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my electricity, but I have these moments where I'm like, I should just shut up.
Yeah, I mean,
but the truth is that's not an ideal way to live alone.
Yeah.
If I were single and without children, it might be the best way to live, honestly. But that's not a normal way for a father and a husband to live and to be up at odd hours and then back up early and then trying to get a nap in. And it's one thing, that's been my career for 2 or 3 days at a time. And you come back home, you refresh, and you do it again. And you come back home and you refresh and you do it again. This year has been a little different for a variety of reasons that aren't important, but I've had long 11 straight nights, 9 straight nights. And that's just, it can get a little, it was just nice to be back home.
I mean, dude, I think that's just human nature. Everybody has certain things that for instance, Chris Middleton is richer than I could ever imagine. He's an NBA champion. He's probably miserable right now and hating his life because he's got to go play for the Washington Wizards for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I mean, right. So, here's the truth. You know what I did last night? I got home, and my family's there, obviously, and we all sat on the couch, and I laid more than sat, and I didn't open my computer, and I didn't touch my phone. I'm just going to lay here and look at the Grizzlies game, and we're just going to watch the Grizzlies game, and I'm not going to distract myself. I'm not going to say I need to go work. I'm not going to say I need to go rank the top 25 and 1, or I'm just going to, everything that needs to get done tomorrow can get done in the morning or not, but I'm just going to sit here and not just lay here.
Yeah.
And it felt great.
Also, the chat needs an update on your car.
It's still right where it was.
I didn't want to say it.
My plan today is to handle that one way or another. And you might be saying, all right, so what's the plan? I don't have one.
You're just hoping that thing moves a little bit
No,
for
I
you?
just haven't had this is where I'm at in my life at this point. At some point today, I'm going to be done with this show. This is what I knew. And then I've got most of the rest of the day free. And I will, as soon as I say rep your hood, I'm going to go, okay. Now
how do I do this?
Now, how do I do this? And I will start then figuring out what to do.
Yeah.
But I haven't even really tried to figure out what to do yet. I'm going to figure it out as soon as the show's over. And then hopefully it'll be figured out by today, and my life will be back to normal on some degree. But the car has not been touched.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, it's going to be all right.
Good luck,
It's
man.
going to be all right. Let's do GP's carryout. I got to go. I got to fix my car.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on your Memphis Grizzlies. Another big win last night by 37 points on the road in Toronto. So the Grizzlies are now 35-16.
Let's go.
Second best record in the West, fourth best record in the NBA. First place, Oklahoma City Thunder on the way to FedEx Forum this weekend. 7 o'clock tip on Saturday. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. It should be awesome. I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but to date, biggest game of the year inside FedEx Forum, I think you'd have to say yes, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
This
is the biggest game of the season. Yeah.
The first place Thunder with the MVP favorite on a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
I watched their game last night. They beat the crap out of Phoenix. I will say, we've made a lot about Ja and the kind of whistle that he gets this season.
Oh, you hate Shea Gilgeous-Alexander shooting free throws.
Bro, he does the same things Ja does out there. It goes to the line every single time. Listen, I think we can acknowledge, sometimes Ja's foul baiting a little bit, with his drives. He sometimes it's not a foul, right? Can we agree on that?
Sometimes it's not a foul.
Sometimes it's not a foul.
Sure.
Sometimes it is a foul, and he doesn't get the whistle. I think we can agree on that, too.
Think so, too.
Shea gets the whistle every time, no matter what.
Bennett's mad.
Yeah, that better be consistent on Saturday.
Oh, Bennett said we better get a fair whistle in our home building.
It was just annoying to watch it last night.
He's a Skims model, Bennett.
I don't give a damn.
Skims model tend to get the benefit of the doubt.
I guess so.
You know, Sabrina Carpenter, she gets a nice whistle as well. Also a Skims model.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Saturday night's going to be great.
I can't wait.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm going to take you to TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. It's the new look Mavericks.
Okay.
And the Celtics. TNT 6:30 tip. We got the TNT doubleheader tonight. Mavericks Celtics followed by Warriors Lakers. Oh, this will be a fun night of basketball.
Yeah, it's a good night.
Okay, Bennett. Celtics are favored by 9.5. Totals 229.5. How you going to act?
No AD tonight. Is he playing? Do we know if he's playing?
I think.
Let's see.
Oh, well, he didn't play last game for the Lakers. Let's.
Game time decision.
He's a game time decision.
I'm gonna say. Give me the Celtics. Give me the Celtics big.
If you're stupid enough to trade Luka Doncic, you can't be smart enough to go in TD Garden and stay in single digits. That's what I think.
I'm struggling right now too.
That's what Bennett thinks.
Why did listen? I love my Tigers, man. That was such a dumb pick by me yesterday. I don't know why I was thinking they have not covered against a bad team all season long. I don't know why I picked the Tigers. No clue. That was a dumb move by me.
You can't be dumb enough to trade Luka Doncic on a weekend and then just go into TD Garden and keep it to single digits. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. We're laying points tonight?
Yeah, give me the 9.5 for Boston.
Boston minus 9.5.
What are we watching on TV?
Remember last week? I think it was last week. It might have been earlier this week. I'm losing track of days. But I told you there was a new OJ documentary on Netflix.
Yes.
So last night after the Grizz game, at that point I was firmly committed to just laying there and just aiming my eyes at a television screen until I fell asleep, and that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to watch this new OJ documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's 4 parts. It was good.
It was? Okay.
I was interested, and I think it was helpful because the reason I even turned it on is I was like, I'm tired, and I could fall asleep at any minute. And I kind of already know the characters. I know the story. I know these people.
Yep.
I know all the lawyers. I know all the friends. I know all the things. I know everything. So this will be easy. And that's what I was looking for. And I got through the first 2 episodes before I fell asleep. There's either new stuff in here or stuff I forgot in here. But do you know what the main takeaway is through 2 episodes? And this, I guess, goes without saying, but it's just you're reminded of it. It is insane that he got away with this. There is so much evidence. Like, I'm not even joking. O.J. Simpson today in the year 2025 doing the same thing would have been convicted in 3 minutes. That's how much the evidence is. It is overwhelming evidence. And I don't know if because if you're trying to dive into the O.J. Simpson thing, go to the Made in America documentary from 2016. That was like...
Yeah. That was great. Yep.
Like, I can't remember if it won an Oscar, but if it didn't, it should have. Amazing. That's the... If you are just, I'm on an O.J. Simpson kick, Made in America, O.J. Made in America, that's a 30 for 30. That's the one to start with. But I think this is a really nice companion piece to it. And I guess I had just either forgotten this or didn't know it. One of the two. First off, there's blood everywhere. All right?
Mm-hmm.
His blood's at the crime scene. There's a trail of blood back through the gate, all the way to the Bronco, all the way back to his house. Blood back walking into his house. Bloody glove outside of his house. Blood inside of his house. Nicole's blood at his house. Ron Goldman's blood inside his Bronco. That's the end of it right there. There's no way Ron Goldman's blood can be inside your Bronco, period. You don't even know Ron Goldman. This blood is everywhere. 2 murder victims and your blood are at the crime scene, in your car, and at your home. That is game, set, match. It's over. Beyond that, there's a witness, a woman, who says, I was at this intersection right by the house at like 10:48 p.m., right after the murders. She almost gets hit by a white Bronco. She says, the man looks at me like I did something wrong, and he's like, move that car. But he almost ran into me, and the man's yelling at me like I did something wrong, and I look, and I'm like, oh, that's O.J. Simpson. I had just watched Naked Gun. She's like, I saw him clear as day. It's like he's this far from me and you. She's like, imagine O.J. Simpson's 20 feet from you yelling at you. That's what it was. It was him, clear as day. Do you know she was never called to testify?
Oh, wow.
She saw him at the scene of the crime. There's a limo driver there to pick him up. He had a flight to go to Chicago that night. It was like a red eye. Limo driver was supposed to pick him up at 10:45 p.m., something like that. He's not there. The limo driver's ringing the doorbell thing at the gate. Nobody's answering.
Yeah.
The limo driver testifies, I saw a man in dark clothing, a black man in dark clothing, about 6'2", 220. As I'm sitting at the front door, at the front driveway gate, I see a man walk through the back gate. They like, Mr. Simpson, can you please rise in the courtroom? Mm-hmm. He stands up. He's like, does this look like the man you saw go through the back gate? Yes. It just didn't matter.
Crazy.
It's
crazy.
I'm not exaggerating. He would be convicted in 40 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, the DNA evidence is everywhere. You have OJ's story was, I just overslept. But you got the limo driver saying, I saw him walk in the house from the backyard. Mm-hmm. His story, official story, is I overslept. The limo driver's like, I saw him walk in the house from the backyard. And then immediately pick up the phone and be like, I'll be there in a minute. The blood is everywhere. He's got a cut on his hand. First thing everybody notices, every person who sees O.J. Simpson immediately after the murder, you know what they notice? He's got a cut on his left hand. The trail walking away from Nicole's house, there's the bloody footprints that match his shoes perfectly. That's another thing. And then there's blood drops on the left side of the footprints. So they assume, well, then there's some sort of cut. The killer has a cut on the left side of his body because the blood's on the feet, and then we got blood splats on the left side. So there's some sort of cut on the killer's left side of the body. Just by looking at the blood evidence, the detectives know that immediately. Then they go look at O.J. Simpson, he's got a cut on his left hand.
Wow.
Everybody notices the cut. You know what he says? He's like, O.J., what happened to your hand? He has 3 different stories in a span of 5 minutes on tape. 1 is, I don't know. 2 is, I was reaching around for something in the car, cut it in the Bronco. That's how my blood got in the Bronco. I cut it in the Bronco. 3rd one, when you guys called and told me Nicole was dead, I got upset and I broke a glass. He told 3 different stories about how he got a cut on his hand inside of 5 minutes. You ready for this? That testimony, those statements that were on the record and recorded, never played in court. It's insane.
I know, dude.
So if you don't care, you don't care. But I was just, as I'm laying there last night, I was like, this is so crazy that this guy got away with this.
Yeah.
Because the evidence is so overwhelming. Like, it's so overwhelming. People have been put in the electric chair with way less evidence than this. Really wild. I haven't seen episode 3, episode 4, but the first 2 episodes were interesting enough to keep me interested. New OJ documentary. It's number 1 in television shows on Netflix right now.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, I don't know if it's the best, but I did write about PJ Haggerty and Memphis at the top 25 and 1 this morning. So if you haven't seen that yet, go find it. CBSSports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Friday. Jessica Benson's going to join me in studio. She'll sit right there in that chair. And we'll have a better grasp. I mean, at 2:01 this afternoon, we'll have a better grasp. But certainly by tomorrow morning, who's on the Grizzlies, who's not on the Grizzlies. Trade deadline just a few hours away. Been quiet around these parts so far. Stick with Chris Vernon going forward. He'll take you
through the trade deadline.
He's trying to go past 2 o'clock today.
I believe so. I believe we will go through the trade deadline on the Chris Vernon show. Yes.
Interesting. So stick with Verno. He'll keep you up to date on everything that's going on. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. I mean, I'm probably not going to enjoy mine. I'm probably going to be trying to get a car moved all day. But you know what? I'm gonna solve a problem today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feel like I accomplished something. So that's good. That's good. I'm looking forward to it. Let's meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.